Well, we're back with a new all-time high. What a day. What a day. We've been waiting for this for quite some time. At $113,000 Bitcoin is where we're at right now. We're in official price discovery. Could we end the show at 115,000? Portfolios are in the green, altcoins are up, ETF news is coming in, and what a day to be alive. If you've ever bought Bitcoin ever in your entire life, well, you are now in the profit. So nobody has ever lost money that has not sold Bitcoin up until this point. So congratulate yourself for, well, one, if you didn't sell Bitcoin ever and you bought, well, congratulate yourself because you've been holding out and now you're in price discovery all-time high. So what a morning. And that also, I got a couple other things to talk about today in the pipeline. We got Grok 4 coming out. We asked Grok what the price of Bitcoin is going to be by the end of the year, and you'll be surprised to see what Grok said. Also, we got some Ethereum news, Pingu ETF going live soon, or application in, and perhaps going live soon, which we've seen the price rally. Meme coins are on fire. So what meme coins are we eyeballing for this cycle? All of that on the other end of the second intro. Let's go. It's me again, Big Rob. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency content. We take old, boring, stale information, repackage it up in a fun, sexy, new all-time high kind of way. And I'm also not joined by David today. I'm joined by Ashley.
I'm here.
Hey, what's up, girl?
Hey, what's up?
How excited are you about the new all-time high in Bitcoin?
Wow. so excited. You have no idea.
All those Bitcoin buys that you've made throughout your lifetime is now finally paying off.
Finally.
There it is.
Thank the Lord. Wow.
Well, thanks for joining me. You got big shoes to fill because David actually left his shoes under the desk. So
I have them on.
Oh, you have them on?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I hope you like itchy feet. All right, so let's get right into it. 113,700. Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially in price discovery mode. The last 24 hours have been an absolute volatile green candle to the upside kind of way. We started yesterday's show at 110. And we ended shortly thereafter at 111. And if you were watching the show, me and the other Rob from Digital Asset, we were telling you that, hey, we're expecting a breakout and prices moving up. Do you think we're going to get a new all-time high? And well, here we are. Immediately after our show, we broke up into 111,000. We came up and touched 112,000 briefly yesterday. And then rejected down a little bit, not by much. And then, well, this morning, we just like an hour and a half ago, we slingshot it up into price discovery, 113,000. I think that 118,000 is probably going to be my target range for the upside going into this weekend. I do think that perhaps we bounce off of 120, but I do think that by Sunday, we'll look back at this week and we'll say, hey, Bitcoin hit 120 or 119.5, something of that nature. And then it pulled back down to about 118, 117. I think that's where I believe Bitcoin's going to land. We could get a little bit more into the charts here in a little bit, but what is fueling all of this Bitcoin price movement? I think it's what we've been talking about for the last month or so. It is the fact that, well, you got corporate Bitcoin holdings increased by 60% just in Q2. So, and from Q1 to Q2, now this is year over year, but I'm just saying that the acceleration of Bitcoin buys by the largest companies in the world. And I think a lot of this has been led by the fact that the United States is easing regulations, encouraging investors and companies to get a hold of Bitcoin. And the fact that Donald Trump and the World Liberty Finance has launched a Bitcoin ETF, which is immediately recognized by the SEC. It kind of gives a green light to companies that say like, hey, don't be on the outside looking in. We've seen MicroStrategy grow from where they were at I think it was like a couple $100 a share. You know what? I'm going to pull up the MicroStrategy stock because I have not looked at it this morning. And so strategy, where's MicroStrategy? I forget the ticker for this. There it is. MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is up only 1% today on at least on the 24 hours, but it's at $419. So I do think that this is one of the things that has fueled the buys of institutions. So other companies on the outside looking in, perhaps that have mitigated growth, that have been, kind of consolidating from a growth perspective, they're looking laterally at other companies with similar market caps and in a similar position as far as being in the S&P 500, and they're like, hey, look at MicroStrategy. Just in the last month, it has grown from $300 and about $50, so $300 to $370 up to $400, and so it's not that huge. But then you go back 3 months ago, it was under $300. You could have bought it for $200. So basically, you got a 2x here just in the last 3 months. You go back 6 months, we were at kind of the same range. But take a look at the 1 year. So a year ago today, you could have bought MicroStrategy for $130. So you got a 4x out of a publicly traded company that that's a household name that everyone kind of recognizes, at least in the investment world. And other companies are following suit. And so look no further. You got B&B Treasury Company launches. So we got 21 Capital, we got MetaPlanet, you got GameStop. Now you got B&B jumping in. And these are just the big headline names. There is a list of about 20 or 30 different companies that now all have exposure in a treasury asset to Bitcoin. Now, B&B Treasury Company launches with the focus on the U.S. markets. So this is accelerating. And then I want to take a peek here. And so here, this chart is the federal interest rate. So the federal interest rate over the last 10 years, take a look here. Back in 2016, 2017, we got our first bull market, right? This was when interest rates were sub 2%. It was a little bit easier to borrow money. The economy was doing overall well. And then it slowed down when interest rates went up. So we were at about 1% to 2%. We were right around 1 to 1.5% on the federal interest rates during the 2027 bull run. Then, once the interest rates peaked out at a 2.5%, well, that was essentially the bottom of the bear market. And then look at this. We had interest rates going from basically 2% down to 0. And this was when we had the historic parabolic run, the altcoin season, the Bitcoin new all-time highs. This is when crypto kind of hit the map for everyone in the United States and globally. And happened to coincide with the fact that the interest rates just straight fell off a cliff. And then from this whole time period here was a crazy growth in the stock market and also crazy growth in Bitcoin. And then in 2022, once we ratcheted up the federal interest rate, that's also when we saw the bull market end. And now here we are. We're starting to see rates cut. We're starting to see Bitcoin break all-time highs. Also, Bitcoin is performing pretty well, even with interest rates set at where they're at. Now, you got Donald Trump getting in office, and Donald Trump is one, pressuring Jerome Powell to cut rates. Jerome Powell's time is coming to an end. He is only in office for another year, and at that point, we already have an expected replacement for him. And we know that Donald Trump said yesterday that he wants Jerome Powell to cut interest rates by 3%. So he wants to go from this 4.5 down to that 1.5%. 2% interest rate, which we know that that chart I just showed you that historically, once we're sub 2% on interest rate, that is when Bitcoin absolutely goes parabolic.
Are you done?
No, not at all. Not even the slightest.
Well, you were just out of breath. Are you okay?
No, not out of breath. I'm just excited. I'm excited. And if you're excited as well, you know what? Let's get some chat participation here. And so do me a favor. On a 1 to 2 chart, 1 to 2, I want to know, do you think that Bitcoin will break 120,000 by the end of the week? Put a 1 in the chat if you think yes. If you think that we won't get to quite 120,000 by Sunday, put a 2 in the chat. I want to see where you guys land on this. Oh, I will say that I weighed in on Bitcoin's price and its price predictions and timelines, also with Grok. Well, if you have been paying attention to X, well, Grok 3 was the old version. We got Grok 4. It is live. It is out, and well, this came out this morning. So, of course, me being a crypto degen, me seeing the price of Bitcoin at new all-time highs, I said to Grok, give me price predictions for Bitcoin December of 2025. I want to know where Bitcoin's price is going to be by the end of the year. And I also put some caveats in here without sourcing websites for analyst price predictions. I do not want website articles that predict. And I told Grok, I said, look here, look at the data. Look at headline articles. Look at halving cycle, wallets, Wall Street, institution, regulation, changes on a national level. Formulate a thesis behind the data with no outside opinion. So I want it to give its own internal opinion. And well, based on the Bitcoin's halving cycle, on-chain adoption, wallet growth, yada, 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 Bitcoin's price range by December per Grok is at $220,000 to $280,000. This is the world's smartest AI, or at least it claims to be. And so I would argue, arguably smarter than me, but maybe not quite. A lot of compute power behind this thing. But it says what 220 to 280, which, you know, hats off to Grok, because that's exactly where I think Bitcoin's going to fall. I'm on the higher side. I think 250 to 280. I don't think the 220 is on the table myself personally.
By this year?
Yes. Yeah. Are you not in the camp that it can multiply by a factor of 2?
I mean, it could, but I don't know if it will. I'm not trying to be negative Nancy or nothing, but like, will it? I don't know.
That's what Bitcoin does, girl.
Maybe. Thank you. Maybe like 150. I'm going 150 for the end of the year.
150, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So AI is not okay. So Grok's not the only innovation AI. You got Coinbase is partnering with Perplexity AI on a real-time crypto data service. So what does this all mean? Well, I think it seems like where this is going is for a informative kind of deep dive into crypto, what it represents. And so like when you go to like CoinMarketCap as an example, and you want a little bit more information on a crypto, as an example, you can go to Ethereum, you can go to this about page here. It gives you a little rundown of what Bitcoin is. So, you know, typically if you're just waking up to crypto and you want to learn a little bit more about it, well, you can tune into shows like Ours and other channels. But you know, if you just want a little brush up on what is this crypto that you're looking at, well, you can get a little bit more in-depth explanations. But this is what Brian Armstrong had said. He says, Phase 1, Perplexity is now ingesting market data, including Coin50, and using power market analysis. So users can double-click the price and help make better informed trade decisions. And so it seems like you're basically plugging AI into the website, and you can, hover over a crypto price or a project, and then click it or double click it as he says, and then you're going to get an AI generated response. It gives you a little bit more information, like, hey, this is a proof of work, this many transactions, it launched at this time. And so excited to see that. And then also we have some other news here from the Tron camp. So Tron, Justin Sun, the founder of Tron, has put $100 million buy or bet, as the headline says here, on the Trump coin. And so it's interesting takeaway from me. I will say that Justin Sun buying is one of the richest people in the world. He started several tech companies in China, and then ultimately went and founded Tron. And the man has a lot of money. He's the one that bought that banana at the. Did you ever see, Ashley? Did you ever see that, the guy that bought the banana taped to the wall?
No.
No. Okay.
I feel like you guys mentioned it before, but I don't know.
So. Taped. Okay, so at one of these art galleries, so Mirzuna Art Gallery, you can see here, it was. So this banana here sold for $6.6 million. The buyer was Justin Sun here.
Why?
It was so as a joke, they took the banana and they just taped it to the wall, and that was the exhibit. And that one was the one that caught the most buzz, or that had the most interest in the whole thing. And the Sotheby's auction house sold it for a record-breaking $6.6 million, which was bought by none other than the founder of Tron, which is Justin Sun, which, in case you wanted to know, he gifted the banana to Ross Ulbricht, which was the gentleman that just got out of prison, that was pardoned by Donald Trump, that, had been imprisoned over some website that, used crypto back in like 2012, 2013. And anyways, my man here, he's backing Donald Trump, not from an investment perspective. He is investing in Donald Trump because I think the man wants some favors.
So did it come with the tape and the banana, or did you just get the banana?
No, he got the tape and the banana.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it wasn't just the banana. And
what a good deal.
I wonder, how they preserve the banana. How is it yellow? Because I know I leave a banana on the counter for, 3 days.
I don't even want to talk about how you buy bananas, because you don't know what you're doing. You pick them off. You buy individual ones. You're annoying. You said that.
I absolutely did. And so
you buy one at a time. You're weird.
I am a man. I'm a bachelor, so I live at home, and so I don't have a large family to feed. So there's no need for 6 or 7 bunch bananas. So I just grabbed 2 or 3.
Well, then you should have bought the one with the tape
for $6 million.
Yeah, that's a good
Perhaps.
deal.
What's also arguably a good deal is Pengu, and so if you've been watching our show last week, you would have known that the conversations between me and David were over some altcoins, which one would perform stronger than the other. That we had that conversation last week, and one of the coins that we compared one another to was Polygon versus Pengu, and I jokingly said that Polygon would massively outperform the Pengu token, and I have not been right on that. And so to take a look here, let me get it out of the Ethereum chart. If you look at the biggest gainers today, Pudgy Penguins Pengu is the leading performer today, up 33%, and then also up 25% or over 25% on the week. So leading the charge, Pengu from Pudgy Penguins. There is a ETF. So the ETF is going, ETF application is in. I think this one is submitted by Canary Capital. And I won't weigh in on this. I don't think it's sustainable long term. I'll leave it at that. However, I will say that when you look at the top performing altcoins today, if you look at the top performers of the week, the top 3 are meme coins. You got Bonk up 15%, up 40% on the week. You got Pudgy Penguins up 26, Floki up 26, and you look on the 24 hours as well. You got Dog with Hat here, you got Fartcoin, Pepe, and the top 10 tokens, over 50% of them are meme coins. So what do I take away from this? What should you take away from this? Well, during Bitcoin's price consolidation, when Bitcoin's price was here at, okay, we're going to go back to January. So when Bitcoin's price was back at 100,000, this is when meme coins took off, right? Meme coins, you could have made stupid money on the price movement from 60,000 to 100,000 on meme coins. Also, you would have made a lot of money on the likes of XRP, which I do have a little bit of news on XRP as well coming up. But the price of Bitcoin skyrocketed, but particularly altcoins, some altcoins did well. Some still asleep at the wheel. Others, like meme coins, the top ones, performed very, very well. And then we had a slowdown and a cooling afterwards, right? That's when you had the likes of Cardano and make all-time highs. Break the $2 mark. We saw XRP make all-time highs back in January, and then we cooled off. But what kicked it off was meme coins. Meme coins ran before the big boys did. And so you look here, back in XRP's court case ended, so that was kind of the catalyst there. But let's take a quick peek at Cardano. And Cardano here in November went from 30 cents to $1.20. And so you had a 4x there in Cardano in the span of 3 weeks. And then from there, we tailed off. But what started all of that? What kind of kicked it off? Well, it was the meme coins. And so take a look at like Pepe for an example. You look at the 1 year chart, you'll see that before, and I just picked the first meme coin, before all the other alts ran, you saw Pepe run. We saw a lot of other projects start, a lot of other meme coins kind of start off, and that's kind of like kicked off the market. And so from my perspective, you know what? The meme coins launch first, and then alts follow afterwards. And it was pretty abruptly. It wasn't like the long delayed. It was just like, hey, here's a quick flash signal. This is a buy signal for altcoins. And so once again, I'm just looking at the market. I'm seeing the top gainers are meme coins. I'm seeing Bitcoin an all-time high. It only leads me to one conclusion, is that altcoins are about to rip. And I think as soon as Bitcoin settles in at whatever price discovery it's going to get to, whether it's the 120, as I mentioned earlier, or the 118, once Bitcoin settles in at its new price range, you best believe these altcoins are going to rip. Also, Ethereum is looking pretty good too. So Ethereum's sitting at $2,800, and so we're seeing a breakout here on ETH. You look on the 1 week chart, we went from $2,500, so we got about a 10% run up on ETH. So ETH currently outperforming Bitcoin for a short period. This is something that we haven't seen a lot of this year. And so if you look here, ETH versus BTC at the top, the blue line is Ethereum. At the bottom is Bitcoin, and you see that, hey, this is another strong indicator for myself that Bitcoin, or that altcoin and altcoin seasons are about to get real lucrative. And so especially the narrative of, hey, once ETH breaks out, then the other alts will follow. Like, right? We've talked about that before. I don't see a situation where Ethereum gets to that $10,000 and we don't see altcoins in some crazy profit scenarios with massive green candles. You know, that's if ETH gets to 10,000, then you have $12, $15 XRP. If ETH gets to 10,000, you have a $12, $15 Cardano, or at least I would say $8 to $9 Cardano. You might see that $100 AVAX. You'll probably see $1,000 BitTensor, and this is what we've been waiting for. And I will say that there could be a pullback. Anything is possible. I do think that the trend and what I'm seeing is that Bitcoin will essentially get above 120K and continue on. And I will say we could get a pullback. We've seen it time and time again where, you know, Bitcoin will break an all-time high and then come back before it takes off. And so my question is, will we see, when we get into the Bitcoin chart, will we see Bitcoin go from that 60,000 in almost 2x, right? Get like a 60% run up. Will it go from the 60,000 to the 100,000? Or will we break an all-time high here, like when we went from 100,000 or 104,000, and then we broke out, or, you know, we traded down to 80, and then we broke back up to 100. So it's kind of like a psych out, right? Will that happen? Will we see another one of these? Will we see price go to 120 and then come back down to 110 or, you know, 105? And get another psych out before the big breakout, or what we're seeing right now, this giant breakout from Bitcoin from 60 to 100K, which if you were to take the percentage standpoint and extrapolate that out, if you were to go from 110,000 and go up by a factor of 60%, well, then at this point we're talking about $180,000 Bitcoin. Now, $180,000, if this happened in the same time window that we saw for Bitcoin, Bitcoin went from 60 to 100K over the span of 3 weeks. So what I'm telling you here is that by the end of August, we could see $180,000 Bitcoin. I know it sounds a little crazy, but it just happened, 8 months ago. It also happened a year and a half ago when it went from 20,000 to 60,000. And so, you know, you got to ask yourself, are you ready for the big run up? Because there's going to be massive profits to be made. And if you are asleep at the wheel, you know, there's always opportunities to make money, right? And so if you've been asleep at the wheel, okay, that's fine. If you haven't made any buys, you haven't been making any trades. But I argue that this is your one and only opportunity to buy Bitcoin or altcoins, because the altcoins are still at massive discount. I mean, you look at Cardano, for example. You know, you look at, this was at $1.20. It's 50% off where it was back in January. And I have no doubt that if Bitcoin's over $120, $120,000, that you wouldn't see new all-time highs from Cardano. And so a 10% run from its current price right now, Bitcoin, 10% run will probably equate to 100% returns on Cardano, currently pushing it over $130. And I don't even think it ends there. And if you've watched our Cardano video or price prediction video, you know that we're pretty bullish, and David did an amazing job laying out our future price predictions and where we believe it's going to be. And so when altcoin season takes off, and this is probably going to be off the back of ETFs as well, and the surge of liquidity and institutions that are currently buying Bitcoin that, well, will probably make a lot of damn money on Bitcoin. and we'll probably look down the market caps or of other available cryptos. And we're not talking about a company becoming degenerate and saying like, hey, you know what? We are going to buy Bitcoin. And now that we've had a taste of Bitcoin, we're going to open up a hardware wallet. And we're going to go and open up a DEX. No, these institutions that have billions of dollars are going to buy ETFs. It's the simple, it's the safe, it's a non-complex, it's a regulatory compliant kind of way to get exposure to crypto. Right now, we have Bitcoin and Ethereum as ETFs, but we're gonna have others as well. So here is the XRP ETF deadlines coming up in July. So just this year. Now, we're looking at a $2.50 XRP, which we know has been consolidating ever since November. And you look here, and if you're looking for a catalyst, my God, this is not a list of all of the ETFs that are out there, right? This isn't Cardano and all. This isn't all the ETFs out there. This is strictly 100% all XRP from top to bottom. So this list is long, and all these highlighted, all the highlighted ones here, all the ETFs that are highlighted, these are the applications that have a deadline for July. So we can assume Brad Garlinghouse, the founder of Ripple Labs, who has had a lot of luncheons and dinners and hangouts with Donald Trump, both at his house and has also been invited to the White House. Well, it's hard to believe that these applications will get denied. And so if there's no denial for XRP, the ETFs go live. We're going to assume that the XRP ETF will go live. Also, you combine that with the other ETFs that are nearing the final date of approval, which you got Solana and also Cardano, which should follow. So, in my estimation, I think by the end of the month, what you're going to see is ETFs going live. You're going to see ETF for XRP, ETF for Solana, and also throw the other ones in there as well. Avalanche, Cardano, HBAR, all projects that we are big fans of, and that we've been kind of pumping up, like saying like, hey guys, like this is gonna be your last chance, because this is where it is. This is that inflection point. This is that point to where I come back in 3 weeks and I yell at you and I say, hey, I tried to tell your ass to buy this. Not investment advice. I'm not telling you to go buy it, but I'm just saying that's what I'm doing, and smart people might copy me. But this is it, man. This is it. This is the final breakout, man. I'm looking at Avalanche chart. Clip this, somebody. Clip this. I promise you, you will not find Avalanche under $20 again. Mark it down, write it down, tattoo it down. I don't care. I'm telling you. This is it. Former top 10 project, ETF going live, one of the leaders in RWAs, one of the leaders in gaming. Transactions are exploding. And so I encourage you to take a look at it doesn't have to be Avalanche. It could be Stellar. Stellar is up huge. Look at the 1 week chart on Stellar, 24 cents to 30. So, I mean, what a run, man. Another project we're behind. Another one that has ETF applications in. And so, you take your pick, because these are all at discount. Cardano. You can even throw some money in at Doge. The other meme coins are running. And so the opportunity is here. Don't fall asleep at the wheel. If you got some side capital, go deliver some Uber Eats, get some extra money, because you don't want to miss out. Because if you do, you're going to be looking back, kind of kicking yourself in the butt. Ashley, what's going on? How you doing over there?
Oh, me and the chat are just chit-chatting.
Yeah?
Yeah. David's in here.
Oh.
We're having a good time.
What up, Dave?
Yeah.
When's he coming back?
Tuesday,
huh?
Yeah.
Did you get any confessions?
I have 3 now.
Oh.
I had 2 in the beginning.
Okay.
Someone said, my confession today, Sister Ashley, is that I only started watching this show because of you and your catchy intro. Because of your catchy intro. By the way, where did that go? Where'd that go?
I don't know. What intro was that?
Remember the really long one with like in the very beginning? I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about. You don't remember that one?
No. Oh, you talking about like the intro for the show?
Yes.
Oh, the old intro.
Yes.
Huh? Ah, okay.
Yes.
You know, like trying to put out like a teaser video or something, or what? Like for the next intro? Have you in there? Proceed. Go. Come on.
What? Anyways, in Chicago, I typically had 4 girlfriends, but then I got married. So now I have 3 girlfriends, typically, plus 1 wife. I love that for you.
You know, some people, they have a diverse portfolio in crypto and in stocks, and some people have a diverse portfolio in, well, ladies, or you said wife, right?
He has a wife and girlfriends.
Okay, well, congratulate. Can we get a round of applause for my man with diverse portfolio, diverse love life, and so yeah, man, you know, don't put it all, don't bet everything on one horse, you know, or one lady.
True story. When I was about 5 years old, my mom received a call from my kindergarten school. When she walked into the principal's office, the principal asked her if she had checked my underwear in the past few days after I came home. My mom was taken aback by the question. Before she could respond, the principal explained that they had to call a plumber because the toilets were clogged with superhero underwear, and they had to find more than 4 pairs stuck in the pipes. Moral of the story, don't flush your underwear after using the bathroom. Was that you?
No, it was not me, no. Not a fan of Superman. I think Superman's too cheesy for me. He has like every superpower.
It was in kindergarten.
Well, I'm just letting you know, even in kindergarten, I was not a fan of Superman. I'm also not a fan of the Corvette because for my birthday, they gave me a remote control car that was a Corvette. And I was like, the remote aspect was cool, but I don't like Corvettes. And I don't like Superman either because, well, he's just too cheesy, man. He's got all the powers. He can run fast. He can fly. He can see through walls. He's got lasers. He can go out into space. He can, you know, it's just like, it's like too much. It's like God mode, you know? Like, you want a little challenge in life.
Okay, so the kid was flushing the underwear down the toilet. That was the moral of the story.
Yeah, and why was he flushing it down the toilet?
I don't know.
Superman is just cheesy. He didn't want them. So if you're going to poop some undies, do it to the Superman one. Now the Batman ones, those you cherish. You know, you fold up nice and neat, and you press those, and you keep them in your underwear drawer.
I know you're not pressing underwear in kindergarten.
And so you get multiple different ones. So, yeah.
Okay, that's all I got.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. You, the chat, the viewer, how you doing? If you'd like to participate in the confessions, where Ashley kind of goes over embarrassing stories, or could argue triumphant stories for some people, now leave email. And what is the email that they're going to? She's gonna put it in the chat. We're gonna pin it to the top. And so next Thursday, make sure that you send in some story, confession, and then we'll be sure to read that. Also, I did want to give a big shout out to the Rumble community. We got Rumble chat up in here today. We got, I know I don't give you guys enough love. We got Xterra, S. Dolly, and to those of you watching in Rumble, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. I did want to get into Ethereum. So I did talk about Ethereum breaking 2,800. We're expecting Ethereum's price to keep moving. I think ETH is going to outperform Bitcoin over the next month. So I do think that if I had to put in a position on an altcoin right now, I will be eyeballing Ethereum versus Bitcoin. I think there are more lucrative alts outside of Ethereum, but if I had to choose, or my personal opinion, I think ETH is going to dramatically outperform Bitcoin, and a big breakout is coming, in my opinion. Also, Ethereum Foundation restructures with 4 new teams to accelerate mass adoption. We briefly touched on this earlier this week in discussing their ZK rollups that they're doing natively on their layer 1, because if you know anything about Ethereum, you know it's slow and that they're pushing people to their layer 2. So the two primary strategic objectives here is expanding Ethereum's user base, both directly through its already established layer 1, the layer 2s that they have, and also fortifying the network's technical and social foundations. So they're launching 4 specialized teams targeting different aspects of the ecosystem's growth. The new enterprise relations teams will focus on creating tailored resources for guidance or business integration Ethereum into the operation. So what does this all mean? Well, I think that you finally have a restructuring of Ethereum's core developers, the foundation. There was some turmoil, some infighting. They seem to have kind of cleaned house from certain individuals, brought in other people, restructured their roadmap, and now they're focusing in on, well, one, scaling their base layer, but also they're continuing on what has already worked, and it's been leveraging the layer 2. So we've seen Arbitrum get a lot of headline news recently for transferring RWAs through Robinhood. Well, you know what? That is part of their strategic roadmap here. Give power to the layer 2s, but yet become scalable, so that way for layer 1 smart contracts, they can compete. Because right now, from the layer 1 standpoint, it's tough. Now, I did get a couple super chats, and so one came in from Muhammad. Muhammad said, Rob's diverse portfolio are his shirts from Sheen. That's good. That was good. That's good. I can't even argue with that one. That was good. Made Ashley giggle too. All right, and then David gave a $20 super chat and said, "Pingu, I gave you credit where credit was due." And then also Muhammad doubled down with another super chat and said, "Rob rode this shirt."
You can't even read.
I did not ride the short bus. Okay.
Continue reading it.
I can't. It's too far away. I can't read it. Short bus, yeah. Okay.
I rode the short bus.
See, everyone's making fun of me today. All right. So, anyways, let's get back to the charts. Let's get back into crypto. So, I wanna take a look at what is up today. So obviously we talked about meme coins performing pretty well. Pudgy Penguins, we got into that. But 2 projects here following Pudgy Penguins on the 24 hours, SWI and also Virtuous Protocol. I am a huge fan of Virtuous Protocol. We are a big fan of Virtuous Protocol. You know, David is probably, I will say, one of the leading experts when it comes to virtuals. I've looked enough at this chart and understand sentiment enough to know when breakouts are coming. And this is a clear reversal. You know, we've seen this happen with 2, perhaps 3 times now. We went from $1.30, went up to $1.70, right? We went from what was $1.40 to $1.60. But yet again, so if you look here, we went from 170. We lost that support. We went down to $1.30. We came back up, tested it, got rejected. Went down to $1.40, came back up to $1.70, rejected. We are here again. What happens if we break $1.70? Well, you look back at the 1-year chart, that's what happens. This is what happens. We go back up to all-time highs. We go back up to $4. And I think this is all off the back of the $1.70 mark. We get to $1.70. We shoot way past $2. And I think we get into all-time high prices. One of my favorite projects. David can explain to you in a lot more detail when it comes to AI agents, but I mean, definitely something I think that at current market cap of just $1 billion. Arguably, I think $20 billion market cap, which puts it into the outside the top 10. Also, I do think that altcoins in its entirety are going to grow in market cap. So I think $20 billion is not that far off. What does $20 billion mean for Virtual's protocol? Well, that puts it at $27. So we'll call it $25. And so by, I'd say October, we see $20 virtuals. I think by the end of the year, you see $25 virtuals. And I think that we look in hindsight and say, well, I missed that one. Unless you don't miss it, and, well, you pick some up now. There you go. Other than that, what a day to be in crypto. Everything is in the green. Everything is looking healthy. Nothing down. Nothing. Chronos is down not even a 0.1%, but it's up for the week. So if you're in crypto, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this show, congratulations, you're making money. And if you're holding an altcoin that has not rallied yet, maybe you need to look at a different altcoin because everything's about to pop off. And if you are holding an altcoin and it doesn't rally when Bitcoin's over 120K, then you missed it. It's that simple. If in 2 weeks from now we're looking at $130,000 Bitcoin and your coin has not moved yet, well, you got it wrong. I'm just gonna say it like that. And if you're gonna sit here and tell me, well, I'm gonna wait 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years, like, stop it. We're about to make some dumb money. Hop on the train. Come on for a ride.
Hey.
What's happening? How you feeling over there?
Oh, I'm fine. Still chit-chatting, not doing much. How are you feeling over there?
I'm good.
Okay.
I am Jay says, Rob looking more square each week.
Wow.
Chiseled.
The chat is very proud of you because when David's not here, you have to stay awake for the entire show.
What you trying to say?
That you doze off when David's talking?
I do sometimes.
I know.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for today's show. We are going to transition our viewers over to our trading shows. All you got to do is kind of hang out here in the chat and you'll be automatically redirected over there. And tomorrow we'll come back, see where Bitcoin's price is. I do think that we'll be up and above 113. I think that we'll still be in price discovery. So we'll keep a close eye on that. 114, 115, who knows? But we will find out. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And without further ado, Gina, let's go. Thanks so much for watching. And until tomorrow, we'll see you then. Thanks for coming in.
Cash is cool, yeah. Sin City, crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major